I don't want to use the key up when I don't have to. So I'm going to discard scratching inside walls, which does have a time penalty on it. And that will be our fourth in the time penalty area. And I will play a card from my hand. I will play object from outside, and that is an artifact. That matches up with the Shoggoth. We do need to do a stability check. We do not incur a stability penalty, but the alley does have a time penalty. Now we have 5 there, and during the maintenance phase, we check the victory, stability, then time penalty, and in this case we do have 5, which means we have to draw a new victim, and there's only one remaining there, and we have Ladislav Wolenko, a little child. He will be our next open case, and all 5 cards from the time penalty area go to the discard stack. Everything will shift, and we have Knife of Grotesque Design. Now we have the ill-regarded island with the research symbol that can match up here with our new case or up there. It does have a location, which we already have, so that's not going to do us much good, but we don't have a location down here. So we can play the ill-regarded island down here on Ladislav. We must do a stability check, and again, no stability problem, but the old diary does have a time penalty. We don't want to build up those penalties too fast because we only have one open case or one case left to open, which can also come about if our discard pile goes down. So we have to manage these cards a little bit better. Fetid Odor. Now we have Ephraim Waite, the wizard, who is one of our puzzle pieces. But we already have one of those pieces here with the person of interest symbol on it, so we don't need to worry about it too much. Plus, if we use him, we have to do a stability check, and we gotta discard a card up here. He doesn't have a time symbol, so we will discard him. Now, do I want to play a card or pass? I could play a card. I could play Moses Sargent, but he causes me to discard from my hand, which would cause me to discard the Violet Witch Lights and incur another time penalty card. Don't want that, so I think we will just discard and pass. And we have the Old Burying Ground. We have Cyclical Disappearances with the research symbol. That could go here, and it has an evidence clue, which would give us 1, 2, that would give us our 5th one there. So that's probably a good idea to go for it. Yeah, let's do that. Let me move this. We'll take the Cyclical Disappearances and play it on Asenath on her case. And we can close this one out because we have 5 symbols and we have 1 to take the place here of our puzzle. Very nice. But we have to do a stability check with Cyclical Disappearances. And no problem, and no time penalty. Daniel Upton, Architect, doesn't have either one of those symbols on him. So that worked out really nice. Dark Man of the Witch Cult. And he's got that one where I can look through the deck and take a card. The Queerly Angled Garret has a surveillance symbol, which would match up here or here. We already have a location here, but we need another one in order to take the place of that puzzle piece when we close it out. But we also probably will need a key in the future down here, so we'll take it, we'll play it down here. It doesn't have any symbols. We'll play it as a key that we need for the future. Hole eaten through heart. Oof. We're going to have to wait to use the knife of grotesque design because it's one of our puzzle pieces that we're going to need. So we will take it into hand. I have room. Shift everything. Hypnotism. We have the fetid odor, which is a evidence clue. We don't have that here. We do have one up there already. We do have our 5 different clue types in this case. 2, 3, 4, 5, yes, and we can score that. But is it more important to get this fetid odor out? We have a string of cards here. Every one of them actually that's in the leads row right now has no time penalties. Wow. We need to play this here because that'll give me a symbol that I can actually play my knife of grotesque design on since I have a key here now. And that symbol says I can take a card from the leads row if I want to, but I do not because I don't want to have to discard from my hand. And now we have exotic spiky figure, which is an artifact. I'm going to discard the old burying ground since it doesn't have any penalty on it, so I can play from my hand this artifact, the knife of grotesque design. It will match up with the collection symbol or magnifying glass. I have 3 symbols there now. I could take one from the row if I wanted to. Let me take a look at them and see if that would be to my advantage. I'm not going to take one from the leads row. Keep things moving along. Leave a spot in my hand available. Brown Jenkin, familiar. That is also a puzzle card with a monster symbol. Now we have the Dark Man of the Witch Cult. I could play him up here on this case, which is already good with 5 symbols, but that would give me a 6th symbol. But that won't help me right now because the bonus you get if you close a case with all 6 symbols before you remove any of the puzzle pieces is you get to take a card from the stability area, and we've been incredibly lucky because most of the games I've lost have been because of stability penalties, and we don't even have a single one there right now. That being said, it doesn't mean one won't show up. So we will take the Dark Man of the Witch Cult, play it as our 7th in that investigation. We do need to do a stability check, and it is still not a stability penalty, but the recently trampled grass does have a hourglass, creating our 2nd time penalty card now. The Dark Man of the Witch Cult has that symbol that allows me to look through the deck for a card. I chose to take the cryptic papers. I'll go ahead and shuffle the draw stack back up, which is getting quite thin and dangerous. Go ahead and shift down and get the unnameable. We have the Hole Eaten Through Heart, which does not have a time penalty on it. So now I can close this case out. I do have 6 symbols there, but the bonus doesn't help me because my stability field is clear. So I'll take the Hole Eaten Through Heart, and I couldn't play it here or here, so that's not going to help. We'll discard it. Now do I want to close the case or play one from my hand? I think I'll wait and I'll play one from my hand. We'll put another artifact down with the cryptic papers. We have to do a stability check, and it is clear. Joe Mazerowick, the neighbor, does not have a stability symbol or a time penalty. Now we could take one from the row, but I'm not going to because we have a couple here again that have no time penalty on them that we can use to close out a case. Paul Dombrowski, the landlord, also doesn't have those symbols. Now we're up against hypnotism. I will choose to discard hypnotism to play Violet Witch Lights, which has the research symbol that matches the cryptic papers. And that gives me 1, 2, 3, 4 different clue symbols there now. We do have to do a stability check. Oh, grabbed too many. And it does not have a stability symbol, but it does, once again, unsettling phone call, has a hourglass, putting us into dangerous territory because we have 3 time penalties and our draw deck is getting low. The exotic spiky figure could play down here, but that's just another artifact card. I don't want to discard it because of the time penalty, so I will take it into my hand, shift everything down, draw, torn apart by great force. I will discard Brown Jenkin, the familiar, to close a case. We'll close the Asenath Waite case. We'll score the puzzle piece. Complex angles leading outside. That'll give us our second one in the big picture. And we still have 6 symbols. Again, the bonus doesn't pay off because we don't have any in the stability area. So I'll gather all these up and place them in our closed case. We've managed to close 2 cases. Now shift over and get the sealed loft. We will take the unnameable because we can't play it right now, and we'll put it in our hand because it has a symbol on it that allows us to take a card from a closed case, which might be a big help to us here. And we have Pit of the Shogus, and our draw stack is very low, and we have 3 time penalties. Got to really watch our cards here. These 2 here don't have a time penalty on them. Paul Dombrowski could play on either row. He's a person of interest, which would give us our 5th symbol down there. Wow. Let's go ahead and do that. We could take a card from the row, but we would have to discard, and everything I have in my hand has a time penalty, so we're not going to do that. Coded Knock. Wow, these 2 cards here, the Coded Knock and the Pit of the Shogus, allows us to take a card from the time penalty area. Things are really, really tight here. We do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 symbols. I can't play that one anywhere. So I will discard it, but it does have a time penalty on it. Superstitious Rumors adds our 4th. Now we're definitely in trouble. So I discarded it. Now I can close this case. I can score the Knife of Grotesque Design, artifact, puzzle piece, because I have an artifact right there. It gives me 3. This case is now closed. Ladislav Waleko is a closed case. Everything shifts, and unfortunately the last card from our draw stack is in play. Next time we go to draw one and there's not enough, we have to shuffle and get a new victim. Things are really tight now. Another time penalty, and then we end up losing. Oh, got a lot of choices. We're in rough shape here. We only have 1 victim card remaining. We have Torn Apart by Great Force, which could play here, and it is a new symbol. But we have to do a stability check, which means drawing a card Well, we're not going to be able to avoid drawing a card, so we might as well give it a go. We'll play it. We will have to create a new draw stack, which means first we draw a new victim, which is our final one, and it's Walter Gilman. And we will shuffle the discard stack. This time I'm actually hoping to get a stability penalty. And we do not. And we got extremely lucky. The old burying ground does not have a time symbol on it. Shift our cards. Father Iwanicki. The sealed loft is one that we need because it's a location, and so is that puzzle piece. Things are getting close here. So we will... Oh, we can't play it. It needs a key. Oh no. If I discard it, it goes into the time penalty. If I take it into my hand, all the cards in my hand have time penalties. I think I'm at a point where I can't win. So close to the three cards in a row that allow me to take one out of the time penalty area. But because the sealed loft has a lock and I don't have a key out that's not being used, this one was already used, I can't play it. And even taking it into my hand does not help because all of my cards have time penalties. Moses Sargent, Exotic Spiky Figure, and the Unnameable, which means I have no choice. Have to discard it, and it will go to the time penalty, making that my fifth one, which means I could play a card from my hand because I discarded it. And the only one that I can play that's not going to make me discard right away would be the Unnameable, which requires a stability check. And I didn't make it, which means I would discard it, but Arkham Sanitarium has a time penalty. I could take a card from a closed case, but it's not going to be able to help me in time. We now get into the maintenance phase. Check for victory conditions. We have 3 out of 5. Stability penalty area is still clear. Never got a penalty. That is unbelievable. And check the time penalty area. And here we are with 6. It's definitely more than 5, which requires us to draw another victim card. And if we look on reference card 1, it says if you run out of victim cards but must draw one, game over. It was close. I only had 1, 2, 3, 4 different symbols already, even before I played the Unnameable. I needed another location which was coming up, and I could have drawn out of the time area, and then a new symbol which I could have used the artifact card from my hand maybe. Oh, so close. And I would have been able to play and pull both of those clues, which were both different from the 3 that I already had, and that would have been the win. It was that close. And the fact that I never got a stability penalty is unbelievable, because if we look on the card reference here at the very bottom, it says that there are 25 cards in the deck that have the stability penalty symbol on them. And for me to have never drawn one during a stability check is just crazy. And I think that actually may have hurt me some, because it kept sending cards to the time penalty area because they didn't have a stability symbol on them. Maybe just 1 or 2 stability penalties would have given me the time I needed to get to these cards. Who knows? But that's the way it goes. With anything that has the word Arkham in it, you're going to lose many more times than you win. But I have a great time doing it every time. I'm so happy that I was able to secure a copy of this finally and get to play it several times. And I even was able to pick up the first expansion. I know there's 2 of them. Still trying to track down the second one, which I think is the King in Yellow. but I was able to get this and the first expansion. The game is not expensive if you can find a copy. I just paid a little over 20, it was like $25 for my copy, and then the expansion was about the same price, but I had to ship it in from somewhere in Europe, so the shipping cost a little bit. But it is a very fun card game. It's a big puzzle that you're trying to make all the right moves for to make it happen and actually win. Now this is at the normal level of difficulty. You can adjust the difficulty of it. This is hard enough, but you could make it more difficult. If we look on the back of reference card 3, you can see that you can change it to where you have to have 6 puzzle cards with different clue types. And there's only 6 types, so that would be extremely difficult. You can also adjust the number of victim cards. You want to make the game harder, only put 4 over there. 5 is the default level, but if you want to make it easier, you can put all 6 victim cards over there. And finally, another way to adjust it is the stability and time limits. If we look on the back of reference card 4, instead of it being 5 or more on stability and time, we can change it to 6 to make it a little easier. I haven't tried any of the variants to make it easier. I definitely haven't tried to make it more difficult because I haven't been able to win on the default setting. But I want to try several more times on default before I give in and make it easier. But I really enjoyed the game. The cards are good quality. The art on them is spectacular. I really like the art style on these. And I looked at the cards for the expansion, at least the first one, and then some of the cards have a greenish tint to them, which is also a part of the gameplay, I believe, because I saw a note on there that color has something to do with it. And I know that the King in Yellow expansion has cards with yellow on them, so I don't know if the color comes into play in that one also. But I highly recommend it. A great little solo puzzle game if you can get your hands on a copy of it. I keep checking to see if it's available anywhere, and if I ever find an easy way to obtain copies, I'll definitely let everybody know so you can get your own copy too. I did check prior to filming the series here, and the only place I could find it online had some ludicrous price on it of like $56, $57 before shipping, so it can be found in the 20s. You just have to be patient and wait for someone to either want to sell their copy or find a place that's selling them at a reasonable price. I hope you enjoyed this playthrough of Arkham Noir, a card game inspired by the stories of H.P. Lovecraft. Let me know if you have a copy or if you're able to find some copies. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.